Kashmir is beautiful. Any note on Kashmir begins with this line, and why not? The beauty of Kashmir has been acknowledged by nature lovers all across the world.
ऐसा सुना था कि कश्मीर जन्नत है, तो वाकई में कश्मीर जन्नत है।
कश्मीर में अगर बर्फ नहीं होगी तो हमारा गुजरान कुछ भी नहीं होगा। क्यों? पानी की हमें कमी हो जाएगी, हर एक चीज की हमें कमी हो जाता है।
बर्फ इतनी पड़ती थी कि कहीं किसी वक्त 5 फुट, किसी वक्त 7 फुट और 8 फुट से लेकर 10 फुट तक बर्फ पड़ती थी।
फल फूल था, सेब के दरख्त थे, उनको बहुत बड़ा नुकसान हुआ। जंगलों में भी बहुत बड़ा नुकसान हुआ।
चिल्ला कलान खत्म हो गए। अभी ये बाहर आया है, उसकी बीबी है, उसकी अभी पोता आने वाला है। अब सबको चेंजिंग आया है, चिल्ला कलान में भी चेंजिंग आया है।
Better climate means better health, and better health signifies better life. The Indian Himalayan region is one of the most vulnerable mountain systems in the world. Being a mountainous region, we are most susceptible to climate change and global warming. Jammu and Kashmir is the third most vulnerable to climate change in India. The situation is already scary, but the spread of coronavirus has made it scarier. Only a naturally balanced climate can rescue us from the trouble we are in. Any further imbalance will make it irreparably dangerous.
We are seeing some of the winters we have seen in the last 1 decade, they were snowless Chalaikilans, or they were very harsh. So some year it is very harsh, some year it is almost dry. So this unpredictability in the weather, this unpredictability in the climate is basically an indicator of the climate change. This indicates that this is climate change.
यहाँ पर कश्मीर में बर्फ होनी चाहिए, जरूर होनी चाहिए। क्यों? अगर ये नहीं होगी फिर हमारा गुजरान नहीं होता है।
But there is a darker side to the snow too. Sometimes a heavy and premature snowfall causes a lot of damage to chinars and apple trees. That is really challenging for those who are associated with the fruit business.
इस साल बहुत बड़ा नुकसान हुआ। पहली बर्फ आने से पतों पर जब बर्फ आई, धोखा मिल गया।
How do climatologists see premature snowfall as a seasonal phenomenon?
Snowfall in first week of November is really unprecedented, and it indicates one of the climate extremes. So though we don't have the data in the Indian Himalayas, including Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, about the climate extremes, but there have been some publications, there have been some reports which have shown that the frequency of the climate extremes in the Indian Himalayas is increasing. So we can't basically get rid of the climate change. Climate change is there. Only what we can do is either we can mitigate it, reduce it in magnitude, or the best thing is that we adopt to it. So the climate change adaptation is the best way to mitigate or to reduce the impacts of the climate change on livelihoods, on farming community, on orchardists.
जो ये वक्त आ गया, इसमें पहले ज़माने में इसमें वक्त से पहले ही बर्फ आती है, बहुत लोगों का नुकसान होता है। जो ये माल मवेशी का वो घास था वो भी पौधा हो गया, फसल भी नुकसान हो गया।
To address this particular problem, the experts have devised different methods.
So the agriculture scientists of this place need to produce climate resistant varieties. In light of this experience for the last 2 years, I would suggest that the Department of Horticulture, the farmers, the orchardists should go for those varieties of apples and other crops that don't stay on the trees till end of November.
The government of the Jammu and Kashmir is putting a lot of focus and support system in place to promote the high density plantation, especially in all the horticulture crops and in apple as well. Jammu and Kashmir, at the country level, India stands at 5th number in apple production in the world. But then we have the potential to become 2nd in the world after China, and that would only happen if we move from the traditional system of apple plantation to the high density plantation.
Although it has been being promoted by the government, but you have to look into the health costs. For example, if you look into the amount of pesticides and fertilizers that our orchardists use in Kashmir, whether it is scientifically permissible or not, we are basically exposing ourselves to more chemicals, and what it has done is there have been incidences, severe incidences of brain tumors as well as cancers among the apple orchardists in Kashmir. Our policy has to take into consideration economic, ecological as well as the health implications of any transformative economic policy.
We are very much concerned. The Honorable Prime Minister of the country and the Finance Minister in her budget speech this year very boldly spoke about the natural farming and spoke about the policy of the government of India that we have to go back to the natural farming to see that how do we protect our ecosystem, and that includes the land, soil, air and water.
Kashmir is predominantly an agricultural economy or an agrarian economy, but because of the changing stream flow patterns, people have shifted from agriculture to horticulture. People are now converting their irrigation intensive rice paddies into apple orchards. There are two reasons actually for that. One is the prime reason is essentially the economic reason, because apple fetches them more money. But climate change that has forced basically depleted stream flows is also one of the culprits that is responsible for change in the form of or change in the downstream land system changes, especially agriculture.
Due to rising temperatures, the snow melts earlier than expected. The severest spell of cold, locally called Chilai Kalan, has changed its texture now. Now, it's not that severe as it once used to be.
ये चिलकलान जो है, चिलकलानों का अब नाम ही रह गया है। उतना काम करते नहीं है जितना पहले ज़माने में कर रहा था।
Compare it with 100 years or 200 years, whatever that kind of snowfall, we don't experience today in Kashmir. Definitely there is a less snowfall. But just looking about 2-3 years data, and then you say this year we had more snowfall, so there's no global warming. I think this is not correct. This is some local variation. This time you may have the western disturbances, because of that you got this snowfall. But in the longer perspective, definitely we will be experiencing less snowfall and warmer winter months, and that harsh Chilekala, I think it will be the talk of history.
Climate change is a global phenomenon. The Arctic ice is melting fast and the sea level is gradually rising. The experts portray a very scary scene of the future. With the rise in sea level, many countries surrounded by sea may completely disappear. Even many coastal areas may go underwater.
Maybe the cause of fossil fuel burning, or overall some kind of deforestation is also taking place, and then more pollution. So obviously the carbon build-up in the atmosphere has gone up. It has gone more than 410 ppm.
Melting of glaciers will cause water shortages in many parts of the world. Melting glaciers narrate a very sad story.
We have to keep in mind that the per capita water availability in Kashmir, in Ladakh, in Jammu is one of the highest in the South Asia. And the reason is because of the large number of glaciers that we have. We have almost 12,000 glaciers in Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. Now, if you look at the Kolhai Glacier, which is the largest glacier in the Kashmir Valley in the Jhelum Basin, is every year on an average melting 20 meters. And if you look at them shrinking in terms of depth, so it is losing mass almost 1 meter, 90 centimeters, 92 centimeters every year.
Where will the solutions come from? How can the problem be addressed? First locally, then globally. Developed country is not a place where the poor have cars. It's where the rich use public transportation, as 60 people are adjusted in a bus as compared to 5 in a car.
Charity begins at home, so we should start by looking at how much carbon footprint we produce individually, trying to reduce reuse of refrigerators, ACs, and using public commute as much as we can.
Tunnels are one of the best ways. So you reduce the travel time between Jammu and Srinagar, let us say only 2 hours or 3 hours. It will have a huge positive impact on the environment.
With an increase in population, the crisis will deepen. In 1960, the world population was around 3 billion. In 2017, it was 7.2 billion. And in 2050, it's expected to be 9 billion plus. If we really want a healthier planet, we will have to mend our ways. We have to be smarter. Kashmir fortunately had a vast green area, but we have destroyed a major part of it. Our valley was green, but we have destroyed that greenery. And we have to restore that charm if we and our generations are to survive.
Mindset should always conserve the nature, natural greenery, and wherever you have the space, you should add to the greenery. So this can make a change.
As teenage activist Greta Thunberg said, "Our house is on fire, we know what we have to do to put it out." There is such a thing as moving too slowly. The problem is not just local, it's global. But we have to start from home and take the mission ahead to save our planet. The climate change is not a myth. It's a fact that stares us in the face. Alongside creating new employment avenues for the people at present, we have to think about our future as well. Sooner we take steps, better that will be for us and for our posterity.